All right, guys, I am back for one last visit with one final guest, Roscoe Blaisdell from the New Hampshire Antler and Skull Trophy Club.
Yes.
Did I get it?
You got it.
You have as many words in your title as we do in our show title.
Yes.
Roscoe is one of my favorite Facebookers because you are constantly pulling game camera photos and video off of your game camera and posting on Facebook for us to see. And then you have these witty captions.
Yes. Yeah, I have about 15 cameras right now. Yeah. Yes, the deer have shed their antlers, but 2 weeks ago they did have their antlers. But there's a lot of other critters out there, bobcats galore and coyotes and deer doing, funny things in the food plot.
Right.
So I'm really enjoying it.
You monitor these animals like crazy all the time. And I enjoy it. So keep doing that. I appreciate that. Tell me about your club and what that's all about.
Well, about close to 30 years ago, there was a group of hunters that were concerned about, there's some big deer, bear, and moose being shot in New Hampshire, but nobody's measuring them. They're not being recognized. You always hear about these other states. So the group got together and formed the club. So deer, bear, and moose are what we measure. We also do shed antlers, and we put a book out every few years. We have a show every year. We used to do our own show up in Groveton, and Brian Emerson was the president at the time.
Yep.
I'm the president now. I've been for quite a while, a glutton for punishment. But it's just so enjoyable meeting successful hunters and getting to handle some wicked nice New Hampshire trophies. And they're coming from everywhere. Coos County, that's where the heavy ones average more, but racks, Rockingham County, right where I live, we're getting some wicked racks. Yeah.
So you're out in Rockingham County, and so the deer densities are a little higher there.
Yes. Yeah. I'm originally from Haverhill, New Hampshire, Grafton County, which used to be a lot better, but the winters, the bad winters we'd had, Rockingham County and southern New Hampshire, we're getting some really good racks and some really good weights. We got, 230-pound deer right in Rockingham County.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're kind of monitoring these things. And what's the overall purpose of the club? What's its mission? Is it to
recognize, the deer deserves the recognition, the state deserves the recognition, and the hunter deserves the recognition. So we just it gives you a good fuzzy feeling on how New Hampshire's doing.
Yeah.
And we are, we only shoot 10,000 deer a year in New Hampshire. Well, sometimes we get a couple Boone and Crockett's amongst that 10,000 deer. Well, you go to Kansas and they're shooting maybe a few 100,000 deer. We're for the number of square miles, the number of deer shot, New Hampshire is right up there, and we're better than Maine. Maine is 3 times the size of New Hampshire. They shoot 30,000 deer a year, and we're getting almost as many Boone and Crockett. So New Hampshire's right there.
Gotcha. And frequently, New Hampshire is always ranked towards the bottom of states to hunt whitetail.
I've seen some of these.
Right?
Yeah, I've seen some of these rankings, and the bozo that wrote these stories, and they said, well, because they have hard hunting because it's snowing out or whatever, they ranked New Hampshire low. Like, give me a break.
There's a style that I think you have to understand how to hunt them, right?
New Hampshire's so different than, like New England. If the land's not posted, you can hunt on it.
Right.
So it's
land use rights.
So if you want to track a buck, you just go. If you're out west, you can't. You hit a property line and you got to stop.
Right. So I think and it brings up the whole concept that you should use what's available. These methods were adapted because of the way we are allowed to use the land.
Yeah.
We don't have to stop. Hal Blood, for example, He goes all day. He stays in shape to do that, to track. Now, down where you live, you probably don't get as much snow as you would up north.
No,
so the tracking isn't as.
Yeah, I've lived in southern New Hampshire for almost 30 years, but I mean, I started hunting when I was like 7 years old, and when I lived up north, I did a lot of tracking, and I've had success at it. But now that I'm living in Rockingham County, I rarely get a good tracking opportunity. But the more experience I get in hunting, the more I sit all day. I mean, if it's the rut, don't be walking around.
Well, I was going to ask you, so what, if you're used to living up north where you have these tracking abilities because you have snow early season and you move down south, what style of hunting are you using now? You're saying are you a stand hunter or you sit hunter? What's your method?
Well, I have 35 food plots.
Okay. That helps.
I believe in that. And if you sit on a food plot, there's generally not deer coming into the food plot during daylight, but they're bedding, quarter mile away. I'm at a bottleneck halfway between the food plot and the deer. That's one way I do it.
Okay.
But during the rut, I mean, I'm just sitting in a good bottleneck all day, all week. I hunt probably 120 days a year.
Are you hunting tree stands? Are you on the ground?
I'm almost always in the tree.
The tree, okay.
And then I used to sit in the tree a few hours in the morning, then walk around all midday, then sit for a couple hours just before dark. But if it's the rut, you just sit. And
all right.
I hunt Saskatchewan a lot, and I've been doing that for 19 years. And you sit from Monday through Saturday all day in the freezing. So now I'm accustomed, because it's hard to sit all day, all week.
It is.
But
it drives me insane. I can't do it.
So but if you have a chance of getting a monster, as I get more experience hunting, you do what works.
That's what you realize. It takes that type of mentality to sit all day to shoot the bigger bucks when you're in areas like New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that makes a lot of sense to me, and it takes some patience and certainly.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people are passing up bucks nowadays because we have more deer now. Like 20 years ago, nobody passed up bucks. Well, nowadays, I talked to a lot of hunters that pass up deer because you pass up a 6-pointer, the next one might be an 8-pointer. On my properties, the rule is it has to be 8-pointer and past the ears. So and our properties are getting better and better and better. Our neighbor has the same rule, and we've been seeing a big difference in the age and the rack size.
Gotcha. So when you're sitting all day, how do you do that? What are you sitting in? Overly comfortable tree stands, or what?
Well,
what's your?
I'm looking at my smartphone half the time.
All right.
And that saves a lot of deer. So, but you're out to have fun too. So you do a little bit. I mean, when I was in Saskatchewan a few years ago, I mean, I was at a real good stand, but I was getting bored, and I was on Facebook. My friend and I looked up, and there was a 190-inch deer in front of me. So I dropped the phone and shot the buck. But
good.
I almost, it's
because of Facebook.
Yes, Facebook or
whatever
emails,
you were looking at.
But you gotta make it fun. And
what type of tree stands are you in?
I probably own 40 ladder stands, 2-man stands. I get them online for $100, and they're everywhere. I might sit them in, one day a year, but I don't just keep sitting in the same stand over and over again. So I got to keep the deer wandering. And I have my wife that hunts, and she's got a record book deer, and my son and his wife. So we just like to just move around different stands constantly and keep one step ahead of the deer.
Gotcha. So you're sitting for a long period of time using lots of different ladder stands, keeping them guessing as to where you're going to be in these bottlenecks between food sources and bedding areas. And you use a lot of game cameras from what I thought. How many cameras are you using? It looks like you like the Covert brand.
Yeah, I think I have like 30 coverts. Right now there's 15 of them out because I have some stands that I know there's going to be a big buck on, and I don't have a camera there. I mean, because there is that 15% of the deer that don't like cameras, and so I don't I don't want to mess up some of those stands.
How do you know which deer like cameras and don't? They send you a letter and tell you
my camera does not flash, it does nothing, and they're 20 yards away, and they just look at the camera because they can hear it.
Yeah.
So there is that. I got some big bucks that they just don't care, but there's that certain percentage that do care, and
you can tell based off of the reaction of the photo.
Your reaction. Yeah.
So you're actually reading that much of that photo as not only are you looking at the deer, but you're reading their reaction as to how they reacted to the actual photo that was taken.
Yes. Yeah.
And then
I'm not. I used to be photos. I'm almost 100% videos now, so I'm seeing 20 seconds of reaction. Yeah. And the deer comes by, it sniffs the ground where I walked the day before, and that's not a great thing. So one thing, I have a big chunk of land that most of it is sanctuary. I will only walk on the trail. So 500 acres, it's like 90% sanctuary. The deer, I just stick the trail, and I have happy deer. They have all the food they want. They're not being bothered. But seeing these videos of the deer, they're all smelling my feet when I walk the camera. I just bought one of those electric bicycles.
Right.
And I'm going to take that out of my truck, ride the bike to my ladder stand, and come. So now I'm going to be 99% scent free, except what they smell me sitting in the stand.
Interesting.
Because I'm walking half a mile to a stand, so that half a mile they're smelling my feet.
A lot of Roscoe smell in a half a mile.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't like my smell. Yeah.
Do you think that the bicycle will change that somehow?
They're not going to smell where I walked.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they'll smell the tires from the bicycle.
I don't think the tires will bother them.
Right.
Yeah.
I would think it's like a car. I don't think they're not bothered by cars.
No. And it's silent.
Yeah.
100% silent.
Interesting. So this is your new experiment.
I've had the bike for a couple weeks. I haven't used it much because of the snow, but I think
I'll be watching your Facebook to see how that works out. I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, and I think it's going to work. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, excellent. Well, thank you, Roscoe, for coming on and hanging out and talking some deer hunting with me and aspects of your club. And it's you're a very interesting guy. And
thank you.
Please keep up.
I'm different.
You're different.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for posting all you do, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, guys, that's a wrap from the Trinity Sportsmen's event here at the Trinity Baptist Church in Concord, New Hampshire. If you're having a local event somewhere where you are, let me know. Maybe we can do something like this out there so we can give them some promotion as well. This is Roscoe Blaisdell. I'm Jay Scott, and we'll see you next time on Big Buck Registry. I guess it's television now, not just the podcast. See you guys.